Hello there, it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. Okay, today I'm going to make a memory board. Now, obviously I'll take a picture of the finished product so you can see it on the thumbnail. But I'm going to do it, I'm not going to make one and then show you how I made it. Because I'm only making one. I'm waffling, sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, rather than use a piece of MDF or anything, I'm going to use a canvas frame. Now these are really easy to get hold of nowadays and they're relatively cheap. The nice thing about these is they're very lightweight. Now, yes. Okay, now because this is a sewing program, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sewing machine to get the ribbons all in place, because I think there's nothing worse than the ribbons being slack or the ribbons being just out of place. So I'm going to cut and I'm going to pin, and then I'm going to sew and I'm going to hem at the same time, so that everything is nice and neat. In fact, I do need a little bit more room, so I'm going to get rid of my sewing machine and just lay these out. So they look better if they're evenly placed. They really do. And I would thoroughly recommend you using a tape measure just to get these nice and straight. Now I've plenty of ribbon to play with, so I don't need to worry about that. And I'm going to do the first one by eye, and then I'm very, very cheekily going to measure how much I'm going to leave in between. So what I'm going to do is I've got a scrap bit of cloth, and I am just lining it up there. And now I can place that and do each one individually. So yeah, I'm using pins just because it makes life a tad easier, and I am just going to take my time, and that's all I can recommend. Of course I'm leaving it so the pins are all facing the same way so I can take them out nice and easily. And I am probably going to be quite boring to watch. Yeah, my ribbon gets in a knot. So just going to double check that that's right. Lovely. And there we go. So I probably need one more diagonal. Start going the other way. Now the corners of the board as well, so we don't need to worry about doing them right up to the corner, if that makes sense. So, you know, we don't have to go right up to the corners, we can just leave one like that. Whoopsie. And obviously I'm using taffeta because any excuse to use taffeta is a good excuse. So let's start off there. And then I'm going to come down. I'm going to get rid of that bent pin. Okay. Now the other way to do it, if you're not happy on a sewing machine, is we can cover the board and we can use tape. We can use these lovely sticky pads. I don't know if you've seen them for sale. We can also use a staple gun if you have such a thing. But I have found that actually a stapler does work, a normal office stapler, and you can just staple them through the board, and that works quite well. But I don't know, I think that really you have to get the angles right on these. I think they just look a bit silly if they're not, and because we're using the wadding, then that will give it enough bounce, so we don't have to worry too much about that, because the ribbons have to be quite taut. Okay. So I think I'm going to move that one over, even though I measured it. And I know you get kind of a diagonal vision on the camera, so it may not look right on the camera. There we are. And I know I bought a spool of 2.5 meters of ribbon, so I am coming to the end. I'm having a bit of trouble here, so you know, do be warned that you do need quite a lot of ribbon for this make. And I'm only using 2-ounce wadding. I only buy 2-ounce wadding and I use that for everything. I've yet to feel the urge to use 2 layers of wadding on anything, so I think that's what I would do if I came across a situation where I would want to make something a bit fatter. Lovely, so I'm now on my last one, and I can just quickly pin that, and then we can start the sewing and we can come back to it. Lovely. Okay, I'm happy. I'm just going to place that over there, get my machine all ready to go. The tufty bits out of the way. And place it under the machine. And it's up to you whether you sew it so that you hem it at the same time, or whether we just sew it. Go a bit faster. And there we are. Making sure that I keep all the ribbons in exactly the same place. Because we go to all that work just to sort of lose it when we actually sew it. So just get that one in there. Carry on sewing. Carefully removing all the pins. It would be just annoying if you knew that there was a pin in there somewhere. So holding it nice and steady just to go over the ribbon and then around again. Look, I know this is what happens when you do too many things at once. I've still got the reel on the actual. There we go. So. Alright, so that's a good place to pause the camera. I'm going to continue sewing around and just catching each of the ends of these ribbons. Hi, welcome back. So what I've done is I've finished sewing and I've just trimmed around the edges because they were getting a bit frayed. This is just because, well, it's taffeta. Okay, turning it upside down now. My layer of wadding. And my picture frame. Oopsie. Now, like I said, you can try. This is just a normal stapler. This is, you know, normal stapler. And you can push it down. So, you know, it can be done. But we're not going to worry about it. In fact, we might use one or two just to hold it in place, just so it's taut. So all I'm doing now is I'm folding this over. I can use one of my pads, or I can use my masking tape, which I know I brought in here, and we can just wind that round. So let me find that. I think I'm getting worse, you know, losing my marble. Oh well. We're going to use sticky pads, which is better in a way, because what we can do is get this right, and then we can cover it neatly with our masking tape. So always go from opposite ends just so we can keep it nice and taut. I'm going to tuck it in as well, just so that I've got the hemmed edges, although as we're using masking tape then we can not worry too much. So let's come round here. Now, to actually hang this on the wall, when I'm displaying paintings, because that's predominantly my job, I can just get away with using a drawing pin. So, you know, I know you can just use a drawing pin on these frames, so that's all good. So just get that nice and tight. The corners, yeah, do take time. They should come up in bunny ears, and what you can do is push them together and then fold them out so that they're nicely tucked in, or we can just wiggle it slightly. So now we've got to make sure that these ribbons are all tight when they go over the corners as well. So, up my masking tape here, and I'm going to start at the beginning. Okay, I'm going to start at the middle, and just to fold that round there, I'm going to get my corner and any ribbons that are on the corner, so because we need them tight, I'm going to fold that over, and I'm just going to stick that down there. Another sticky pad if you have it. tidy. Trim the ends. Make sure my ribbon's tight because it's going around the corner. Tuck those all in. Lovely, so another corner, pull it up, twist it round, tuck it all in, and then I can literally just take that up. So now, because we've used those sticky pads, it's nice and secure and it's pretty much all ready to go. So I know it's a fiddly make, I don't disagree with you there. It's always going to be a fiddly make, and that's why they look so stunning. I'm a big fan of keeping my ribbons tight and my ribbons evenly spaced. I just think that it looks so much better. So and there we are. Oh, I've got a twisty ribbon. That can be easily sorted. Okay, so there we are. We have a very nice keepsake memory board for putting in photos and little knickknacks that we want to keep, and all sorts of things. Although I should have brought a photo in, shouldn't I? In fact, I do have loads, so there we are. Alright, thank you ever so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee.